Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fire and Bloom, a House of the Dragon podcast by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. The fun of our show here is that we've never read Fire and Blood. We don't know what the fuck is going on, and today, that really hit us like a truck. I am Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? It's always a pleasure to be here. Not really a pleasure to be talking.
Today sucks. Today sucks. We mourn. We mourn after Season 2, Episode 4, titled The Red Dragon and the Gold, written for the screen by Ryan Condal and directed by the Game of Thrones vet, Alan Taylor. Up there amongst his best. He's got a lot under his belt. You know, I think he did Beyond the Wall in Season 7, which is strong. That's a big action one. Only one that you could really compare to this in terms of the action, and even this probably washes that. But this is there. This is up there. He's good, man.
Yeah, it just sucks. It sucks the events that happened, but done very well.
Very good looking.
That's
very
for
good
sure.
Episode.
Yeah. Had to wear black today. Felt like a funeral.
Mournful experience. Yeah. So for those who have not watched the episode of House of the Dragon and you have not read Fire and Blood, if you don't know anything about anything here, I'd advise that you shouldn't be here. I don't know why you are. I appreciate you tuning in, but we got spoilers coming, so get out. But we'd been talking all season about how fucking awesome Rhaenys is, and it was only yesterday that it hit me that maybe they're subverting our expectations about being worried for Corlys. She's talking a lot about mortality. Corlys is ignoring it. You're like, oh yeah, he's gonna die. You don't think of, oh wait a fucking second. And that hit me yesterday, and it fucking sucked.
Unfair, and we were even thinking like, oh, what a perfect hand of the queen here, and even
it's even mentioned in this episode.
Like, oh my god, it was everything was just going so well,
swimmingly,
and then that seed was planted of, what if it's going too well, and it was, it very much was, and then the whole episode, I mean. I was preparing. It kind of, they were shooting her in a way that I'm like, oh my god. You kind of knew it. And
we see her this episode before we see Rhaenyra. We see her like when she arrives at Driftmark and she talks to Corlys, and she has what feels. It's a conversation about the future, so, there's always a little bit of anytime you're watching fiction where characters are on the verge of death at any given moment, anytime they talk about plans, you're like, hey, you're probably not going to see those come to fruition. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm a miss Rhaenys. That's, the queen who never was and should have been is one of the finest characters Thrones has given us, and a season and a half deep, and we lose her, and that fucking blows, man. This is probably, honestly, as far as character deaths are concerned, Lucerys sucked, but I didn't know Lucerys.
Yeah.
I mean, Viserys. Viserys is probably the one that hit the hardest, but
yeah, Lucerys was just like Team Black. It was a blow for Team Black.
The blow for Rhaenyra hurts. This, that. But also just Rhaenys. I love Rhaenys, man, and this really sucked. But if you're ready, I can take us on a little bit of a location by location sort of thing. The ending gets a little more complicated. I put that the last 20 minutes is all its own thing because we're
Yeah.
But Yeah, we'll start in Harrenhal, where Daemon arrives at the Red Keep. He finds a young Rhaenyra on the throne, donned in the clothing of older Rhaenyra, with a crown too large for her head, a burden too heavy. She speaks unintelligible High Valyrian as Daemon asks her to speak clearly, and already, I have something fun for us. Somebody translated.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's fucking good. Okay, so young Rhaenyra, all the time where she's like, you can't really hear her, but it's enough to where you can tell she's speaking Valyrian. You can't really make it out. Somebody made it out.
What?
Yeah.
Just take the time to.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
Insane.
But,
anyway, awesome.
This is everything she says. It's been said that Targaryens are closer to gods than to men. In my eyes, you were a god, Daemon Targaryen, the prince of the city, the lord of Flea Bottom. I was an innocent. You exploited me and abandoned me. You sullied my name at court. You empowered my rivals. You tried to make my ruin. You put me on that throne, and you love me and you hate me for it. And then everything we do here. You created me, Daemon, yet you are now set on destroying me. All because your brother loved me more than he did you. And it's just wonderful to watch Daemon get haunted by the women he groomed.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, that's too specific for someone to just like make
To
up.
have just made that up.
Be
Yeah,
like,
I like it.
No way. And if they did, they should be writing on the show.
Yeah, right. Like that's good shit.
But wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, that line where she says, I was an innocent, you exploited me and abandoned me. I was like, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Man, it's so nice to have Millie Alcock just back here as
dude.
well.
Well,
like,
and now
2
I'm
episodes.
like, he walked in and we saw the throne, and I was like, are we going to get a Paddy Considine flashback? Are we going to see Viserys eventually? Because I thought Millie Alcock was done. You know, I certainly didn't think Lena was coming back, you know, and it feels like that's another thing he would naturally be haunted by.
Ooh. Maybe whenever Daemon goes to actually visit the sick Lord Strong, I don't know if he actually will ever get there, but maybe then there will be like
some manifestation,
go back and forth between Viserys and him or something like that. And,
I mean, I would love if Paddy Considine got to come back for one more scene.
Mm.
But that's what I got excited for. And then I saw Millie Alcock again, and I was still very excited, you know, because I love Rhaenyra. I love that character. But yeah, like he walked into the throne room, and I went, like, who? Maybe? No. But, I mean, like, I loved the imagery. Her wearing clothes that don't quite fit and a crown that's too heavy, doesn't fit her head. It's all just, it's perfect. It's just, she's not who she becomes. But, yeah, when she says, all because your brother loved me more than he did you, he steps back, takes his sword out, and cuts her head off in one fell swoop. Her severed head continues. This is what you wanted, is it not? He looks at her head as it bleeds, and her eyes turn to him. Her voice, distorted, mixed with that of Lord Simon Strong, says, there has been a raven. And waking Daemon in his bed, he looks to his hands to see blood. We cut again, and it is not there.
Dude.
The stuff on Harrenhal is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's like a subplot, you know? It's like I love that we got massive things happening on Team Black and Team Green over here. Massive war, just progressions. But Daemon's subplot,
Daemon's just getting fucking tortured right now. It's fucking awesome.
Whoa.
Like, I really, really enjoy what they're doing with the Harrenhal storyline. I'm excited to see exactly what comes of it, because last week I was left with a much different impression than this week leaves me with. Last week I was like, I think Daemon's going to see the error of his ways. I think this went the opposite direction. This makes me think he is absolutely going to challenge Rhaenyra in the same way that Aemond appears to be challenging Aegon. You know, like that's... And in fact, does. Tries to kill him.
Man, I mean, is this his subconscious still just talking to him, or is this Alice? Is that her name? Like
Alice Rivers.
Like, how much do you think Alice is contributing to this.
I think she is. I mean, like she makes mention of the mystical properties of Harrenhal, which I don't think can be dismissed. Like the whole the castle having been built on what used to be a field of werewoods, the beds being made of heart tree wood, and like everything is relating back to that. I do think there's a mystical property to the haunting going on that I think is beyond Alice, but I do think Alice is in touch with it in a way that others can't be. So I think she has a little, like, whenever she asks, you know, have you been experiencing anything of note? You know, she knows he's been experiencing things of note. Yeah. I don't think, however, she knows precisely what those things are.
So more of like an instigator.
Yes. Yeah. Because, like, what she says whenever she pushes at Damon later can all be perceived by his actions at Harrenhal. You know, when she's like, you arrive, you claim one of the largest castles in the kingdoms. You do not ride a raven. You look to amass an army of your own. You know, you resent the woman who stole your claim. Like, all those things can be observed. That's not something you have to be in touch with a mystical power to understand. You know what I'm saying? So I think that she recognizes he's been going the fuck through it. You know, she knows he's been going through things, and she's just feeding on the one thing that it's obvious he'd be going through it over.
I see. Yeah. It could either just be like she is just a straight up kind of fill-in maester or whatever she kind of says.
No. I mean, I think she's a green seer. I think that she is. I think she has the sight the way Jojen did.
Yes, I very much liked that because I was going the full mile of like three-eyed raven, you know, and I didn't really quite like it. I'm like that'd be nuts if we had the three-eyed raven just kind of like this. But that I like that a whole lot more, and could be very. I mean,
and I think she's just using it to instigate, whereas Jojen did it to, like, he had a mission. I feel like Alice is doing something a little different, you know, like she's
Jojen.
He was tasked by the three-eyed raven to bring Bran.
Whenever he was like teaching Bran or giving him like a lesson or in a vision with Bran, was Jojen like
there?
Did he create the vision too, or like was it kind of like they just both enter it in a day? You know,
I think my perspective of what was going on during those is that Jojen would enter Bran's visions, not that he would create the visions for him and be there, but that Bran concocted his own visions, and then Jojen would pop in. Now, obviously, Bran's visions are related to something much more mystical than Daemon's internally. I think Daemon's visions are obviously happening externally. I think whatever's happening to Daemon is happening, like I said, to him, not because of him. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Wow.
And I tend to stand on that theory because they could be playing with the Targaryen dreamer thing. Maybe Targaryens are just more susceptible to this sort of thing. I think that would be, I could accept that as an explanation. And I mean, like, I don't even need an explanation. It's happening to Daemon regardless. But like, if I am trying to logic my way in and out where nobody else is experiencing this, you know, Targaryens have that weird thing about them, so they could be a little bit more susceptible to it. There's also a little bit more of a ancestral tie that Daemon has to this place. You know, Aegon the Conqueror burned the former lord of this castle and burnt it to the, like, there is a tie to the Targaryens that Harrenhal has. So there is a lot of interesting stuff going on. But yeah, I think that Alice is more than anything observing and noting, because I think she's gonna be important. I don't think it's just gonna be like, we visited Harrenhal and there was this weird chick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think somebody's going to take her and, you know, be with her. And I think it's going to be no, Team Green. I think Team Green takes advantage of the fact that that this chick knows Daemon. So my money's on Aemond.
Sort of like a sexual.
There's a tension
there, and you know, Daemon famously can't get it up for people without white hair.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like maybe this gets him go. I don't know. Maybe she gets him going.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I can see that too, and I would be interested by that. But like, it's just hard to clock Damon right now where he's at mentally, because I feel like right now his visions, his subconscious, and Alice are feeding on his worst impulses, not the things that he surface level wants to do. I think that right now he has been telling himself that he is coming to Harrenhal to raise an army in Rhaenyra's name. That is what he wants to do. But there's that level to him that's like, I do have the opportunity. Like, if I'm going to do something, now's the time. You know, like, and there's something inside him that's like, you know, like, this now sees the opportunity. This is, you must become what you have always been meant to, etc. You know, like,
Damn it.
But that's the thing too, is that the visions are also making him intensely guilty. You know, like they are making it like he's struggling with them. It's not like he's happy. It's not like he wakes up from these visions and he's like, yeah, you know what?
I'm the man.
Yeah, no, he wakes up and he's like, fuck
damn,
me. Like that's,
damn it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what goes on there, but the aforementioned Raven that was brought is to inform of the movements of Aegon's army with Criston Cole at its head. They've made clean work of the Crown lands. Castles of Rosby and Stokeworth have fallen and have been added to Aegon's host. Criston has now tripled his army in strength with its sights on Harrenhal. They can gather a force, but will doubtless be unprepared by the time of battle. And Daemon chides that it is time to see what their Lord Paramount is made of, and he enters their dining hall to find a child, the grandson of Lord Grover Tully Oscar, who is the heir to the Riverlands. And he is quite clearly nervous to meet his prince, his grace, the king consort. And Daemon gives him absolutely no quarter, no leeway at all. He asks the lad if he would just put his grandfather out of his misery and do his duty to the realm by uniting the Riverlands under him. And the young boy refuses, naturally, as killing your grandfather is not something all of us are capable of, like Daemon might be, and thus Daemon has no use for him. He looks to Lord Strong and asks which house had declared for Rhaenyra, the Blackwoods or the Brackens, who can remember? When the answer is the Blackwoods, he asks that their lord be summoned, since they clearly have no problem taking action. And I love the way Lord Strong just kind of like walks up to the little kid and is like, it's okay, buddy. You know, like,
you did good.
Yeah,
you
did a good job. This guy's fucking insane.
Yeah, you did what you were supposed to.
Yeah. It's actually a good thing you don't want to kill your grandpa, no matter how he might make you feel.
Yeah, he was, it was just like a normal thing. He's like, come on, man, can you just speed this along for us?
Yeah, you considered putting a pillow over his face and letting nature take its course?
Get it over with. Yeah. Daemon, he got the character for me this episode. For this like more for his like storyline of how it's just like, it's crazy how during this episode it's like it's the thing I'm kind of thinking of the most, like of what it can mean down the line. Like,
I mean, because he could really fuck shit up, like worse than anybody. He has the opportunity to fuck shit up.
He can get close to Rhaenyra. Like, they did have a falling out, so like if he comes back all lovey-dovey or whatever, I think Rhaenyra will still be a little bit hesitant and untrustworthy, you know, for a little bit. It's going to be, I don't know, just whenever Rhaenyra and Daemon see each other again, if that happens anytime soon, is what I'm like curious of. If
how long is Daemon at Harrenhal? I mean, how long is he spending time separate from everybody? Is it because the longer he does, the more it's more obvious he's amassing his own host to fight. You know, like, and that's not good.
Ooh. Man, because the council, they're getting wind of that too. They're like, still no word from Daemon. They're not fully suspicious yet, but they're kind of
the Targaryens
just like
move in secret. Even their queen did. You know, she left for days unannounced. You know, like it's not like it's abnormal behavior, but they are going. We haven't even received a raven, you know, of his progress, and that's odd. But yeah. It's getting intense, and again later on in a dreamscape, seemingly a light shines outside of Daemon's door, and footsteps patter by. He chases them with a sword in hand, and he sees Aemond rounding corner after corner. Aemond eventually turns and possesses the face of Daemon himself. And he continues on almost as a guiding beacon, trying to take him somewhere. This is the part that I think is no coincidence that leads him right to Alice. This is the one that's a little weird. Now, if the castle and its ghosts want to guide him to Alice, or if Alice wants to talk to him, I don't know. Hard to say.
That's true. He is directly led to her.
I mean, twists and turns all over the place, and ends up in a room where Aemond / him disappears, and it's Alice.
Yeah, and why, it's clear Aemon has a thing for Daemon, how he, just wants to be admired, I don't know, whatever. It didn't feel like Daemon had a thing for Aemon, but maybe because, I could see Daemon seeing Aemond as, an equal, as, he thinks like me, he understands the world, whatever, sort of thing. And so maybe that there is some,
I think there's a kinship there that neither of them possess with anybody else. Nobody understands them like the other. You know what I'm saying? Like they get each other intrinsically. And I think that there is I think there's an element of Daemon that wants Aemond's position. He misses being that young with that much opportunity, and frankly, I think he recognizes Aemond as capable of what he never did, which was kill his brother and seize the throne. I think he sees Aemond and is like, I wish I was in his position because I'd fucking kill Aegon. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be the king right now if I was Aemond. You know, at least that's kind of how I look at it. And obviously they do paint the parallel later on where they're questioning Daemon's loyalty, and they are pushing this idea that he is amassing his own host and he is doing this all on his own, even if it is subconsciously. Like, that's at least what he is doing in practice. And then Aemond quite literally tries to kill his brother later on, and had Kristen not shown up when he did, would have.
Yeah, I don't know. I was rewatching that, and Aemond looks like he's sheathing his sword whenever he's walking up there. Like, he's putting his sword away instead of which I
thought he was taking it out because Kristen says, "Hey," and he stops, and then he puts it back.
Is it? Okay, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I did see it wrong. But man, yeah, I guess I don't know. Maybe I'll have to go back and look at that. But yeah, I mean, there's this between the two. I mean, it's crazy. Like, if gay couples could be allowed, like this king and king combo, if that was possible, like them teaming up, that would be insane. Because I see them getting to the point of they're like, well, we are family, we are blood, we're Targaryens, we shouldn't be fighting. And I don't see there's no way they team up though. Like there's zero shot that. I
mean, I think that would be, in the perspective of both of them, the perfect scenario. However, I think that there is it's kind of like we're talking Star Wars at the same time on Fulcrum right now. I think they'd be kind of like the Sith, where they would constantly be trying to take each other out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they would constantly be vying for their own sect of power.
Man, it sounded crazy at first, but I don't think it's out of the question that they might try and team up. Like, Daemon's seen that Aemond tried to kill Aegon straight up and seize the throne. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen that Aegon, I don't know. Aegon knows this, and he's seemingly alive. I don't know.
Fucked up, though.
Yeah, not doing well. But, is Aemond going to be able to just be on the council and be at the Red Keep still, or is he going to have to
Like once Aegon's back in it. Like that's my thing is that like I don't anticipate Aegon as a factor for a couple episodes.
Oh, true. He's just gonna need to recover. He's just
I
gonna.
think he's sidelined hard. And I think that there's he was roasted in some armor.
You don't think he's just like? I guess like if he's conscious, he doesn't just tell Alicent or somebody like, Aemon tried to kill me. Like, or does he think it was an act? Like he was just going for Rhaenys, or like does?
I think that Aegon would question it. You know, like no matter what,
he was drunk.
That's true as well. He was drunk and then he took a fucking fall from hundreds of feet in the air on a dragon. Like, there's a really good chance he doesn't remember shit. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not banking on the idea that he won't remember shit, but like, that's distinctly possible. True. You know, like this is one of those times where like amnesia would not just be a convenient plot point. You know, like he
very much makes sense.
He could very much so not remember it, and I would get that.
Okay,
but and so at least for one episode, Aegon's not even waking up. That's where my money's at. Like I think he's in a coma. I don't think this is something you wake up after a couple days from. You know, like so
that
I think in that time, Aemond will preside as, you know, he's the prince. He is actually the heir right now. There's nobody else who...
True. It literally just goes to him, I guess, yeah.
Because Kristen's leading the armies. He would be the hand he would be if his hand wasn't off at war, but Aemon's now in control. Aemon's got the shit.
Say he goes in there, he goes ham. He's like the best fucking king there is. To them, you know, Team Green just starts winning. When Aegon wakes up,
I anticipate that.
Like but can they just be like, no, we want to keep Aemond, or do they must go back to Aemon or Aegon whenever he wakes up? Like they just.
I think that there will be Alicent has that conversation with Aegon in this episode where it's like, do what's always been needed of you. Nothing. You know, and I think it's more likely than not that after this, I don't think he'll want to do it after this, Aegon. I think he's done.
Oh, they're gonna puppet him.
I think they're gonna puppet him hard. But also, I think that Aegon's gonna pull a Tommen eventually. There's no way this guy doesn't go without killing himself.
Ooh. Yeah.
I'm like, just where my money's at right now is that I don't think this guy lives. You know what I'm saying?
I guess if he's going to be puppeted,
while it would be satisfying to see Rhaenyra or somebody kill him, they've been going really, really hard at the like tortured kid who wants what's best but is completely incapable because he's evil intrinsically. Like he can't help but be fucked up.
Damn.
And he's feeling useless. He's feeling like he's nothing. Like I sincerely doubt this guy dies by anyone else besides himself.
Yeah, he kind of died right here. This was really his
if
death.
If Aegon comes back in any meaningful capacity, he's a completely different guy.
Yeah, because I was gonna say maybe he's crippled now and he can't do anything. And they literally want him to do nothing, so maybe they puppet him.
Bernie's him.
Like they literally, they just put him up on the throne, sit him there, and in the armor, or whatever. I think it'd be really funny if that armor is just singed to his body now as well. So
that's actually something I do know is that there will be armor singed to his body. Not all of it. That's
for real.
But there is armor that is a part of him now.
Yeah, kind of.
He's
cool.
in his Vader era.
Yeah, kind of cool. Like, I would just leave the whole suit on at that point. You know, like why?
At least it'll finally fucking fit him. God, he looks awful in armor.
Yeah, it didn't fit him well. It did not fit him well at all.
I think they're doing that parallel with Rhaenyra at the beginning of the episode. You know, like you're not fit. Like you are not that yet. You know, like this isn't who you are yet. I mean, like, because it's not like that's just a costume department blunder where one guy is bad looking in armor. Everyone's armor looks fucking incredible.
Does someone else put that armor on and it fits really, really well?
I could see that. I could see
Who did they make
actually,
it for?
There's some of it's Aegon the Conqueror.
Well, this is true, yes. But like if they could have made it just not fit for Aegon, or they could have made it fit for the actor, whoever wears it, and then it just doesn't actually fit Aegon.
Well, now that a lot of it's singed to his body, I don't know how they're going to figure that out.
True. I guess, yeah. We don't see this ever.
It's mostly the helmet that gives me qualms. It's not really his body. Like, the body plates are fine and stuff. Like, it doesn't look great, but it doesn't look awful. That helmet looks fucking horrendous on him. Like, it looks bad.
Yeah. Poor guy. Yeah, he just wasn't fit.
And again, like I gave my performance somewhere else, but Tom Glenn Carney is fucking good, dude. Like I'm blown away by how good he is as Aegon, like week after week. Like whenever he does go sit down with Alicent, or whenever right before when he's like, "You bore me," you know, like there's just such a, I mean, such a angst and deep well of insecurity that you can just see brewing in him, and I think it's really, really well done. But yeah, all that stemmed from us talking about Aemond and Daemon's parallel. So Daemon
we're still at Harrenhal,
yeah, but yeah, she asks how he's doing, as she can tell he's not well, and she says that Harrenhal has been cursed since its first stone was laid. Black Heron felled the grove of weirwood trees which once stood in its place, and it's believed to be imbued with the spirits of those who lived long before he came. And Daemon challenges this, and she says that the very bed he sleeps on is made of the same wood. And he deflects and remarks her as a strange woman, which she disagrees with jokingly. She says that she is a barn owl forced to live in human form. She then clocks him for quarreling with Rhaenyra. He fled. He hasn't sent Raven back, and now may be plotting his own takeover. She fuels his darkest thoughts, and she asks him to drink some sort of strange concoction she claims will grant him rest. He takes a drink, and by the finish of the drink, he is at a table, joined by Lord Blackwood. He is unaware of how he got there, why anyone is here, and what is happening. He hallucinates that Laena, his deceased wife, is serving as cupbearer. And Lord Blackwood swears that once the dragons bring the Brackens to an end, his army will be theirs. Yeah, like Blackwood. I think that's like a pretty notable, important detail is that Blackwood's like, you wipe out this house and we got you. You know, like
yeah, and it's easily done with a dragon, which is kind of crazy. Like he's probably just gonna do it, right? Like he needs this army, like for Rhaenyra or for him. And Daemon doesn't give a fuck. He said he didn't even know the difference between the houses before. He's like, you guys are, you know, which one of them do I need, or can I summon whatever? And I feel like he's just gonna, sure, okay. He doesn't even know how he got to this meeting in the first place. I want to know what happened in between this meeting and that drink. Whatever. No idea.
Notable that this Lord Blackwood, if you'll recall in season 1, whenever he mentions that he vied for Rhaenyra's hand before she married, he's the little dude who kills a guy.
No,
way. That's this guy. He's the little dude who like everyone's like, oh, you're so cute. But then someone challenges him and he fucking offs a motherfucker like as a small child.
Yeah,
that's this guy. That's this Lord Blackwood.
Okay. Wow. That's kind of nuts. Kind of a
cool little connection. Just another like cool thing to show you how long the show has ran. Because he says like 20 years ago. And you're like, fuck's sake. Yeah,
you were a little kid when you killed that man. Or how old was? Yeah, kind of a man.
I mean, a grown man, much more grown than he was anyway.
Fearsome.
What I would like to know is if it was a Bracken who was vying for her hand, who he killed.
That'd be cool. That'd be kind of cool.
It was. Oh my God, it was a Bracken. Oh, that's perfect. So like that's just one of those cool little connections that that they've been laying the groundwork for, and I think that's just so fucking cool and such keen force. And obviously, it's history. They were going to get here anyway, but like,
wow, that's
like
cool.
that's fucking cool, man. I love those sorts of connections. But I did want to connect this back to Alice saying that she's a barn owl in human form. Her and Helena would be best friends.
Yeah, I guess that just hit me. You saying it out loud. Barn owl in human form.
Yeah, like her and Helena would just be down.
I mean, just a bird.
They both have horse girl energy.
That is for sure. But
yeah.
is she doing a little bit of a? I'm gonna put it out like hiding in plain sight. Like I am a bird in human form. That the only other thing like that we like.
No, yeah, it's the three-eyed raven.
Is that actually possible? You know, like in my head, I've always operated that like that old fuck that we've seen, that Bran, the three-eyed raven before Bran, that dude's just been there for a long ass time.
Yeah, there's no knowing how old he is.
Like,
if you go to his wiki on the Game of Thrones, the Song of Ice and Fire wiki, it's obviously a different character than the books. That's a storyline they take very, very differently. So like, that's what's interesting too, is that book stuff when it comes to the three-eyed raven, I don't know how much it ties in to the show because they didn't really observe any of that in the show.
Okay.
In the show, the three-eyed raven is a Targaryen bastard. Or not in the show. In the books, it is a Targaryen bastard. But in the show, it's very vague. It's just an old fucking guy. Like, if you go to his wiki, they're like, he's less than 1,000 years old.
Oh, just less than 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Give
we
or
don't
take.
know how, but we're willing to bet he's less than 1,000 years old. You
Okay.
know?
Okay.
So like, which would fall in this realm. So like, he could very well exist if we are abiding by something that has not been confirmed canonically. You know, like it's just. So I do think that there's an idea that, you know, maybe she is being guided by the three-eyed raven in a similar sense that Jojen was, like we mentioned earlier. You know, maybe she is being pushed into a certain corner or something. But I tend to think of her as an independent rogue agent with this Green Seer thing. I see her being just kind of on her own plane. She's not really she's not serving anything. She's just doing.
Because the only thing in my mind that I'm worried about, I don't know if I'm really worried, just that Daemon would be worried about, is that if she's warging like Daemon, and that whatever Daemon drank, like allowed her to do so. Maybe she doesn't have the full capability, like the three-eyed raven would, but this potion, whatever she concocted, and her witch abilities, whatever she had, you know, she has something that combined gives her the power to warg Daemon,
right.
And she did something in between this meeting and posed as Daemon, and I don't know, could have
did something.
Yeah, I don't know. She could send ravens on his behalf. She is, well, I mean, obviously no ravens have been sent out, but it'd be interesting if one arrives.
I mean,
but yeah, I don't know what she could do.
Yeah, I don't either. But like, I suppose we'll find out. You know, if I don't anticipate us getting anything that tells us something happened in that gap. I anticipate this won't be the last time this happens with Daemon. I think he'll experience another time slip that's just kind of like, the fuck is going on, you know, like and I don't know what to make of that, but that does conclude the story in Harrenhal, and we'll go to Driftmark next, where Rhaenys looks to meet with Corlys, and she is quickly met with Alan, the man who saved Corlys from death, who she instantly clocks as Corlys's bastard son. No question about it.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, we were like, I'm just trying to think of how is this dude going to get a promotion? Where is this dude coming from? Just a normal dude. Way cooler that they ended up going down this route, and kind of.
The thing that's confusing me is that he has a brother who I'm pretty sure they're both of a house. They're like Alan and Adam of Hull or something like that.
Oh, wait. That you're right. So, well, does that just mean that Corlys slept with the wife of House Hull, or right? I guess.
Yeah, that's where my money's at.
What it implies, and then his brother Adam is just the true Hull son, while Alan is Corlys and whoever that happens to be. But
yeah, I think that's probably a fair assumption.
But kind of the anti Catelyn here.
Yeah, she's like, nah, love this kid. Go for it.
Your mother must have been beautiful, like to kind of like honor like the idea and be like,
yeah,
I don't know, not scoff at it. And it was just
I think it's become very, very clear that Rhaenys and Corlys's relationship, while it's built on a mutual respect, there's never been, and there's a certain spark there to be sure, but there's always been this kind of understanding that they are independent people who do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't know if that means they've been fucking around or if that just like, if that entails that as something that could have happened. And Alan's not a young guy, I'm going 30s minimum, you know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah,
so
maybe
maybe
they had a similar agreement like Rhaenyra and Laenor did in their
we'll seek
early
our pleasure
years,
wherever we can find it.
But
there's clearly a cool openness that Rhaenys possesses to this, and it might just be a relief. Kind of. They were just talking about how they don't have an heir who knows the sea, and they don't, just kind of fits perfect that they now do, who traverses. And I think maybe looking at him, she was like, and whenever Corlys approaches and she's like, so that's who saved you, and he's like, yeah. And she's like, you didn't think that was important to mention. So there's also a bit of an understanding, I think, where he may have told her in the past that he has other children.
What if this is his like true love, the Lady Hull or whatever, and now he actually gets to marry her, which legitimizes Alan, which makes him the next.
It wouldn't legitimize him anyway. His birth precedes marriage.
True. I guess Rhaenyra
has the power to legitimize anybody. So yeah, like this. Yeah, it's tough to say. But and that's the other thing too, is that I don't think maybe Corlys has told her it was a possibility that he had other children out there. I feel like that would have been mentioned in their conversation about an heir. But either when she says like, you didn't think it was important to mention it, she might literally be talking about the fact that Alan is his fucking son. Like she could look at him and know he was his son. Like, grabs his face and is like, they didn't tell me you were so comely, is what she said. She's like, yep, you are my husband's son. I don't know who with, but that's that. But, yeah, he attempts to deflect, and Rhaenys tells him that she has been called to Dragonstone. They grow restless in Rhaenyra's absence, and Corlys inquires snidely about where she must have gone, and Rhaenys again protects her. She suspects she's attempted to draw everyone back from the abyss, and she storms off. But back on Dragonstone in the war room, Baela informs the council once more of what she saw, and what she thinks is a force headed northwest. And they all kind of scoff, like, oh, this girl thinks they're heading northwest. Alfred Broom says that she should have burned them when she had the chance, and she claps back that perhaps she will get a chance, or perhaps he will get a chance whenever he rides his dragon.
Fuck you,
and
bud.
this pleases Rhaenys, and she smiles to herself, and Jace defends his betrothed. They only know anything because of her. And they try to nail down exactly what it is they know and they come up light. But Rhaenys affirms the facts. Cole has amassed a force, and it is a problem. And they speculate, could Daemon deal with it in his own time? And they ask Baela if she's heard from him, and she hasn't. And Broom says they'd be able to act if they had a host of their own or someone there to lead them. And Rhaenys states that she's doing her best to steer the council, but Broom takes issue. You're a woman.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, he doesn't say that, but that's
with other words. Yeah.
Yeah. He says, the queen did not name you, Hand. Why is your voice any louder than ours? And he's quickly silenced when Corlys enters, and it is evident that he is misogynist is all, because he immediately abides by what Corlys has to say. Corlys chides the council for power grabbing and not trying to find a way forward. And Rhaenys again attempts to comfort the council's minds by saying the queen, while they don't know exactly what she is doing, is almost certainly seeking an end to the conflict. And later on, Rhaenyra arrives back as Jace says they need to send a dragon, and when she asks where, Jace grows bold to support the war we've been fighting in your absence.
Yeah.
She's informed of the changing circumstance, and one of the sons of House Darkland is informed of his father's demise, which we'll get to later.
Some sass behind this delivery.
Yeah, I love Jacaerys.
Mm-hmm.
I love this character.
Is he like a little bit of Dame? Like, is he like this is a little like? Is he what? How upset is he, and why is he upset? Is it literally just because of she should be ruling?
I think it's because she left and didn't say shit. I think it's because she left, didn't tell them where she was going, and
on
disappeared
principle
for a couple days. Like he says later on, you know, like we are fighting a war for you. If you die, none of this matters. So it's not. It might be similar to Daemon in that it's just kind of like, why aren't we acting? But I think it's more from a selfless place, worrying about his mom than it is.
Yeah, I didn't know how to read it. Like it felt. That feels right. I would rather it be that. But
he's also been exposed to the opinions of the council in her absence. Like, all of them have been saying this shit. And while he did his best to defend her early on, like...
I wonder how much they're rubbing off on him. Like,
yeah,
how
they're making their points in the wrong ways, but the points stand. You know, like, the queen does need to be there. They do need a hand. They need somebody to steer the ship that they know will steer the ship whenever things like this happen. You know, like, none of those things, those points should be brought up. You know, but the way they do it is obviously not the proper way to do it.
Yeah, and I guess now after the fact, I guess like hand-wise, pretty clear. At least now, Corlys feels
kind of has to be
like he's going to be the only person that shuts everyone else up, unless because Daemon was the only other candidate, whatever. But that feels.
Yeah, that's
singed now. So I mean, like, I just these guys now that Rhaenys is gone, the one that kind of checked him and was like, "Hey, you know, like, sit the fuck down, like, recognize your place."
How much does that's the other thing though, is how much does Corlys shut down now? How involved is Corlys now that Rhaenys is out of it?
I didn't think of that.
He gets his impulses checked by Rhaenys. He is constantly questioning Rhaenyra. He is constantly being like, "What is she doing?" You know, and Rhaenys is like, "Here's what she's doing," and he's like, good point." You know, like, so that's my is she like Rhaenyra does not have a soul on her council who is good besides Jacaerys and Baela.
And he Corlys used to be in with Daemon as well. Like had the what brothers, the second sons. That's right. And like it seems that like it's going Daemon's way right now. Not in the present. He's hating his present life, but like things are pointing to get better for him in his claim, and everything, which is scary. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, Rhaenys was really the only thing holding this council back at this point. And now, I mean, now that Rhaenyra's back, who knows how much she'll be able to check her council a little bit more. Like, it's just the fact that they have been so absent and stuff. But and now with Daemon gone, they don't have anybody to rally behind. It's not like they're going to be like,
true.
You know, like, so she's good in the interim, but she needs council people that are good. But Jace confronts his mother, and she says that her secrecy was necessary. She was in King's Landing. She tried to forge a peace with Queen Alicent Hightower. And I love Jace's performance here. What?
Yeah.
You know, he's like,
to
why
what possible
the fuck
end
would you do that? And one of the notable things is that actually Sir Alfred Broom, when she says this, like looks to his homie and is kind of like, like, oh, okay. You know, like she She went out and did something. I think there's a grain of respect that Alfred actually gains for her in this moment. And maybe I'm misreading it, but that's kind of what it looked like. Obviously, he voices his opinion for the dragons needed here in a second. But there is a degree of him kind of being like, okay, she's got balls, like she went and did the shit, and I think there's something that he can respect about that. She didn't just go off and disappear for a couple days. She tried something. But she says that she inherited an 80-year peace from her father, and before she was to end it, she needed to know there was no other path, and now she does. She says she either wins or dies. When you play the Game of Thrones, those are the only two options, and Jace affirms they stand at the ready. The choice becomes clear. They must send a dragon, and Rhaenyra says that there are those who have mistaken her caution for weakness. Let it be their undoing. She's like, I'm a go. We're good. And they're all like, no. And again, Jace being like, oh, Mom.
Like, come on.
Like, come on.
We just went through this. Like,
yeah. No, you are not leaving again. Because if you do, you could die. And if you die, none of this matters. So I love that he's like, I'll go. And they're like, that's also an easy no, Jace. Your dragon has never fought. You have never fought. No. And obviously there's also a degree of fear. Rhaenyra's never going to let her son fly a dragon again.
Nope. Not after the first time. Was it the first time they let, like, that she let him go?
It was the first time they'd done anything in the service of,
I guess, the first time,
the crown.
First order
like it wasn't
to fly.
Yeah.
But not their first flight. But that's something she's not going to get over. That's for sure. And I saw.
And I'm assuming it's something Jacaerys will eventually, rebel.
He's gonna
with.
just go. Yeah. That's I see that. But I saw a take that was like, Daemon has been right at every single turn. If everyone just listened to Daemon, they literally would be all fine right now. And the examples they gave was like that Daemon wanted him and Rhaenys to go on their dragons immediately, but it was to King's Landing, right?
Yeah.
Or did he say that to take their dragons? It was, to go attack King's Landing, which is not the same thing.
To go attack Vhagar, to kill
which
Vhagar.
is just not the same thing that is happening here. And like, I don't know, it was very, like, and also I think they forget the fact that, like, Daemon screwing up and getting a child murdered is what has caused most of the mess.
Yeah.
And so it is very, like, it's clear that there's going to be those people that are just like Daemon all the way, but it used to just
fucking sucks.
Yeah,
like I love the character because I think he's really, really interesting, and there's a lot of really fascinating conflict with him. He fucking blows.
To be
terrible
Team
guy.
Daemon is weird. Like that's like being Team Patrick Bateman or Patrick Bateman, or I don't know, like a what's Wolf of Wall Street, the fucking
Jordan Belfort.
Yeah, like kind of it's like that vein, and it's, you can like it for the show, like it's a cool villain or a cool antagonist that could bring a whole bunch of conflict to the story, but like I don't know, it's weird seeing people.
It's also fantasy, so like that's the other thing too, like we're having the same conversation with the Acolyte. Since it is fictional, I like the idea of Osha and Chimera being together. If it was real, I'd be like, this is toxic. This is not good. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like,
true.
It's fiction, so we can have some fun with it, of course. But like, like there's when you have options like Rhaenyra, I frankly, I'd rather Aemond be king than Daemon.
Yeah.
I 100% would. I think that there's mostly because I know that Aemon's a tactician, and he's really, really good at what he does, and I think that Daemon is also really good at what he does. One thing I am worried about Aemond is that I think he's ready to lash out at the world, I think, which isn't good. I don't think Daemon is there. I think that Aemon's got a little bit of don't come to school tomorrow energy,
That's fair. Yeah, is.
And that's frightening. So like maybe I wouldn't go that far, but that's the thing, is that like I wouldn't rather either of them be king. I'd rather Rhaenyra rule, and so like when there's an option like that, I don't know why you'd want Daemon to be the ruler of the Seven Kingdoms. But, it is what it is. But Rhaenys ends up volunteering. She's the obvious choice. Meleys has seen battle, as is she, and she will meet Cole. And this is the last time on screen that she sees Corlys. So that kind of sucks.
It's just clear that this was goodbye. Everything was pointing towards she is not returning from this trip, and I was just I don't know how. At one point, my hands went above my head in no form, and they didn't come down until the end of the episode. It was just a constant, just no.
There's some fucking tension getting built at the end of this one.
Yeah,
and it's strong.
The Rhaenyra talking to Jace and telling her the dream as both dragons.
I've got that whole thing outlined outside of the locations at the end, but
true, that's right.
We'll then head to King's Landing for now, where in her chambers Alicent fiddles with a figuring, and she is impeded upon by a Kingsguard who ushers in the Grand Maester. He unveils a chalice of some variety, as was requested by Alicent, and it becomes clear that this is Westerosi Plan B. She says she will have it delivered to the girl discreetly. And on his way out, Alicent stops him. She commends him for his storied service, and she asks him bluntly if he believes Viserys would wanted Aegon to be his heir. The Grand Maester answers tactfully that there was no way for him to know. He never raised the issue with him. He bows and exits, and when he leaves, Alicent opens the chalice, holds her stomach, and tips it back. No Cole child today. Thank God. But...
Ooh, yeah. No more of him needed.
Bullet dodged.
Yeah. I mean, the Maester knows that it's for Alicent. Right? Did he clock it? Because, obviously, Larys comes in later and clocks it. But,
does clock it. I think the Grand Maester makes it his business to not care. I think he's kind of whoever it's for, it's whatever. Let them know they can come see me. Because this isn't the first time she's done this. She requested the potion for someone Aegon slept with. So it's not out of the sadly not out of the ordinary for her to do something like this.
True. Yeah.
So
it felt.
I shouldn't say slept with. Aegon sexually assaulted the girl, and that was it. But,
every response that the Maester had here was kind of just I know, it for someone else, but if they have problems, they can come to me. And then it felt kind of like he was clocking that there was something weird. And then obviously the answer at the end, it feels like his answer would have been no. Viserys would not have wanted that, but I'm going to give you the literal answer because he didn't bring it up with me. So that's the Maester kind of answer, the political answer. But see,
I took every answer to be the Maester answer. I took every answer to be the respectful, because the other thing is that Grand Maesters, they don't get replaced. They serve until they fucking die. Essentially,
that's true.
I don't think he has any desire to lose his position, so I think he makes it his business to not invest in side plots like that. Is the queen fucking the hand?
I guess the current council he sits on, does he just hate it? Does he hate the current leadership? Or does he is he past that? Is he just I'm a maester, whoever's in power, I serve, that's it?
That's kind of how I perceive him. I like posing that idea for him potentially maybe swaying his loyalties to Rhaenyra. That would be cool. If he decides to grow a spine. I think that's the problem, is that he doesn't have a backbone. He has his possession, he has his position on things. And he voices it. He almost always gets trumped. He rarely ends up being the prevailing voice. So I could see it being one of those scenarios, but I could also see it just being he's a background character and he's
just
doing
the
background
maester
character shit. Yeah, so we'll see. But at a convening of the council, Aegon looses on Larys for the loss of Harrenhal. "It is your fucking castle," he says. And Larys responds that the castle is in a state more crippled than he even is. And it's of little use, a fit distraction for Daemon. And he is then informed that Cole continues to make quick work of the Crown Lands, which Aegon didn't really know. He says he needs to be informed of these things in order to make informed rulings, not to be embarrassed in front of his council and enemies. And Aemon tells him that Harrenhal must wait. And everybody's like, yeah? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna take Rook's Rest. And Aegon's like, fucking bullshit. Rook's Rest sucks. Why would I want Rook's Rest? And Aemon rises and makes his point. It is the seat of Lord Staunton, who sits on Rhaenyra's council. It is small and weakly defended. If they take it, they will have effectively cut Dragonstone off by land. He says that the war will not be won by dragons alone, but dragons flying behind armies of men. And Aegon childishly goes, no! Have him turn around. We're going to Harrenhal. I want Harrenhal back. And Aemon's like, nope, Cole's already preparing his attack. And Aegon's like, how do you know that? Aemon's like, he sent word to me. And Aegon realizes then that Aemon and Criston have colluded behind his back to run his war. And it becomes clear they're executing on the plan we saw them formulating in episode 2. Whenever he was like, if we do this, we can take the crown lands in weeks. We can have them cut off by land. Like, I think that is expressly what they say in episode 2. Like, they're executing exactly what they had planned for. And Aemon speaks Valyrian to his brother, both to protect him from the council knowing that Aemon is making the choices, while also simultaneously letting them know that he is. You know, like, the only reason he'd go secretive with it is if he was doing that, but because he is going secretive with it,
they know
Aegon's ego can be protected a little bit, you know? But it becomes clear also when Aemon taunts his brother, asking him for a better strategy, which he knows he cannot provide. Aegon cannot speak Valyrian. He stumbles over his words in response. Another layer of taunting from his brother Aemon.
Yeah. That is that the line of the episode that I can make a war? Is that like, I don't know, I feel like that's something along the lines of what he said, but at least like during the time they have no idea what's being said, but like I think the council can clock by the end of it.
He does not know what he's saying. Yeah. You know, like he stumbles over his words, and like there's a flash to Larys, who even kind of has a smile on his face. Like he's just kind of like,
you think Larys knows Valyrian? You know? If there's a non-Targaryen.
If there's a non-Targaryen who does know Valyrian, it would be Larys. I will grant that. And I could see him being dedicated enough to study it so that he can know what's being said in moments like these.
Is it like a off-limits thing that can't be, like, you know, like...
I don't think it's a lost language or anything. I'm sure there's dictionaries.
I guess, yeah, it's not only a Targaryen thing. I guess it just is...
Old Valyria.
True. Yeah, I guess I don't know why. I thought it's just maybe in universe. I knew it. I've just noted as Targaryens are the only people who speak it now. But well,
that's actually in Essos. They still speak Valyrian. You know, like whenever Daenerys reveals that she can speak Valyrian, it's because other people are speaking Valyrian.
Hello,
the Unsullied speak Valyrian. Like they all. So like. You know, there's high Valyrian and low Valyrian. You know, I don't know what's easier to access or what, like, maybe the Targaryens and, like, royalty are the only ones left who know high Valyrian. I can't remember the specifics there, but I don't think that's the case. I think even Missandei and the Red Woman, I think they all know high Valyrian. But,
okay. Yeah, I guess the whole Essos, the whole continent kind of speaks it, so, okay. Oh.
Yeah, but, I mean, it stands to reason, though, Westerosis, they don't seem like the most well-learned people, especially the ironically enough, especially the Highborn, who are the only people who have access to education, but they don't need it because they're Highborn. So it's just a wonderful cycle of people getting fucking stupider. But Aemon gets final say. Harrenhal is a useful distraction. They will continue to grow their strength outside of it, and they will deal with the Riverlands when the time comes. But later on, Larys meets Alicent in her chambers. She confirms she was absent from council due to illness, one related to too much pie. It was a rich indulgence, and that was her only sin. But he spies the chalice on her table and comments, yeah, rich indulgence indeed. But we all have our appetites, and I think that's kind of what makes us human. And he reports what happened during council. He says that Criston has met no loss on the battlefield, a fact that is sure to draw Rhaenyra's rage soon enough. And he says that she must be worried for him. Her sworn sword, of course, risking his life, you know, potentially coming under dragonfire, you know. And he approaches and says that she has not seemed herself of late. she's like, yeah, a few weeks ago my husband alive, there was no war, everything was good, and now I barely have time to process one tragedy before the next one happens. So sorry if I have not been myself as of late.
Honestly, fair enough, Allison.
Yeah.
Put it this way.
Frankly, this was the best Allison has been in I don't know how long.
Yeah.
I loved Allison this week. And frankly, this is exactly what I wanted from her. I saw a tweet that was perfect, she's not she's not the mother that stepped up. She's the mother that stepped down. She decided she's done. After the conversation with Rhaenyra last week, when her worst suspicions were confirmed, she's like, fuck this. In fact, this blows. I'm done. Unless I am ruling, unless I have full fucking control over this shit, I'm done.
Damn. Yeah, it is kind of sad. I don't know. To think of season 1 when Rhaenyra and Alicent are sitting in the Godswood or
garden,
whatever that's called, and they're just they love each other. It's a thing that they loved each other. They could have. I don't know. And now just there's no turning back now.
No, it is over hard. And I think that's what they're mourning. That's what she's mourning specifically this week, is that there is no fucking shot. And she says as much here before long, but he looks down at the table and notices the books. He says he didn't realize she shared her husband's love for the histories, and she says that her husband knew his wisdom could only take him so far. Voices of the past guided him. And Laris questions if this is why he changed his mind. The voices of history must have known that the realm would not react kindly to Rhaenyra's succession. And Alicent vehemently says it's impossible to know what he thought in his final hours, and Laris questions, do you doubt his intentions? Alicent says that people will believe what they will. War will be fought, a victor will rise. And then she says my favorite line of the episode, the significance of Viserys' intentions died with him.
Okay, so yeah, the same. Is this a trailer line? This is the one I was curious on.
I don't know.
Okay, but yeah, it was the one line I clocked too. That it felt like a good, all-encompassing. Here's where we're at. Like it kind of doesn't matter. Like if Alicent heard one thing, whatever. Team Green's gonna think one thing. Team Black's gonna think the other. Fighting's gonna happen until one is left, and. Or none, one or it's gonna. I have my ones of who I want, but who I want to be on the top at the end. But it's not looking good for either team.
No,
it's just looking really, really bad. And maybe that's the point: is that war bad? And I don't.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse for everybody. Nobody is succeeding right now. Literally nobody is doing good. There's not even a single win you can point to.
No. Yeah, just children dying, random houses that have had feud for a long time. Now they just been given reason to fight. Then House Targaryen, just them fighting in itself. Dragons causing thousands to die.
Yes, Green's one Rook rest. Their king's in a fucking coma. You know what I'm saying? Their king almost fucking died. So
yes, they landlocked Dragonstone.
Yeah.
Oops, the king's dragon is
he wasn't quite dead,
dead,
but he's gonna be. I don't know how you heal a fucking dragon, man.
Damn. That's a lot of. That's a total. It's like a total.
Yeah.
Is it a total dragon? Is that how they would say?
Do they have fucking dragon veterinarians?
Insurance.
They got anybody that can help out with this. Do they have fucking rope-sized sutures to close the gashes in his chest? I don't know, but
damn. Maybe dragon fire's the only. Maybe they use I don't. Oh yeah, but it feels. Like the end.
Sunfire gone. Yeah. Sadly, I love Sunfire too. I love all the dragons. That's what sucks. Is you can't blame any of the dragons for what happens. And it's really brutal.
That's the interesting thing is when people are saying from the dragon's perspective that Vhagar and Rhaenys' dragon, I guess, were Baelor and Baylor's wife's dragon, maybe.
Yeah.
Like whenever they were riding, so they used to be like lover dragons, basically. And now one is killing the other.
And even beyond that, Vhagar was Rhaenys' daughter's.
Oh, my lamp! Sorry, my lamp just fell over behind me. But Vhagar. Oh,
Vhagar was Laena's.
Oh my God!
So
even within the show,
even within
it's not
the
even
show. Like it's bad. You know, like Vhagar, like Meleys is getting killed by and frankly, Rhaenys and Meleys. I read this on online. They've been together for 42 years.
I guess, yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Ever since Rhaenys could ride a dragon.
Yeah, you don't change dragons unless the dragon dies, or you. Yeah, so oh my God, that's like.
Yeah, like that's it adds that layer of like, yeah, you were gonna die with your fucking dragon, you know, like it's like that's just how it was gonna go. But anywho, later on, Aegon grows restless at a council meeting as he spins his sphere around the rim of its holder, and they discuss the lords in the crown lands and their dysfunction. And the council commends Cole, the Kingmaker, they're calling him, and Aemon. Wow, they cannot be defeated. And we have Vhagar out in the field. Yeah, we're a formidable foe. And Aegon slams the sphere and remarks, "You bore me. You all bore me." And he steps out and finds his way to a conversation with his mother, who immediately chides him for tossing aside his father's books. Aegon dismisses his guard, and he's like, "I didn't burn them. I had them removed. It'll be fine." Which was just one of those times where, like, there's like a human in there, and it's nice to see that every once in a while. Whenever he's like, "Come on, Mom, give me the fucking benefit of the doubt. I'm not just burning books, you know. I didn't want them in the fucking room. Okay, they're somewhere. We'll find them. Fuck." Which was just a wonderful little turn there. But he pours himself a glass and confides that the council doesn't care what he thinks. Alicent rolls her eyes and moves towards her son, and she asks what. Sorry, my dogs are going at it up there. She asks what thoughts he would have. He says, "I'm the king." And she's like, "Do you think just because you wear a crown that it grants you wisdom?" He doesn't answer, and she continues, "Those men earned their seats." She had hoped that he would honor the burden of a seat by being silent and striving to learn from the more studied minds around him. She had hoped for him to learn to be half the king his father was. And Aegon tells her to tread carefully, and she grows bold. "Or what? You'll hang me? Like your rat catchers? Will you banish me? Like your hand?" You know, she says he should listen to her, who ruled in Viserys' final years, and Otto Hightower is as fine a statesman as has ever lived. You're an idiot to have not listened to us. She says that he has no idea the sacrifices that were made to give him the seat he holds now. And he asks what then would she have him do? And she replies, what was always needed of him. Nothing.
Oh, man. I guess this probably was kind of like his suicide attempt already. Like, it was kind of like, well, it's either going to go well or not. And he doesn't care really either way. He's just kind of...
No, yeah. And I mean, like, it's wildly irresponsible. I think it's just kind of playing into... I think there's almost an element to it that's like, is this what you think of me? You know, if that's what you think of me, fine. Let's fucking do this then.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm nothing. If I'm nothing,
it doesn't
matter.
I'm an idiot, it doesn't matter. Let's do this. Now, I wish he wouldn't have sacrificed his fucking dragon in the process.
Yeah.
This is like, he drunk drove.
Mm-hmm.
He drunk drove his dragon into battle.
God damn it.
Irresponsible little dipshit.
Oh my God. It's so funny to put it in modern context. Yeah. But yeah, that's totally... The dude just drunk drove and got a lot of people killed.
Probably the most dangerous version of drunk driving in the Seven Kingdoms. You know, like horseback riding is probably not super safe drunk. But, you know, usually you're being hauled by carriage. You're not going very fast. Like, you're on a fucking dragon, dude.
I don't know if I could imagine anything worse than drunk driving. Because, like, even, like, imagining, like, a fighter jet. At least if someone's drunk, they're just going to crash. Like, they're just going to kill themselves pretty quickly. But, like, a dragon has the mind of its own still and will, like, I don't know, a dragon, that's fucked.
It's real bad. It's real bad. But in the Crown Lands, rain patters on blood-soaked mud as we see corpses riddle a battlefield outside a castle, and Criston Cole walking above them. He states that they will bend the knee or die. The Lord of House Darkland refuses, and he spits at Cole's feet as he scoffs at his nickname, Kingmaker. He says he is not fit for the White Cloak. And Cole says that this is a death worthy of something far kinder than a traitor. You should thank me. And Darkland says, your time will come, and his head is dutifully separated from his shoulders. I'm going Fabian Frankel as Kristen Cole for my performance this week.
It sucks to say, but this part looked good. Like this scene,
everything with Kristen looks really fucking good. And he's channeling his inner Kit Harington, which is really interesting. There's a lot about this scene that reminds me a lot of Kit Harington performance-wise, and I really, really liked it. It made him absolutely magnetic and interesting in a way he has never been.
It's the only time that I thought I said last episode, like, the only time I'll give anything positive to Kristen Cole. I forgot even what it was. But, like, now,
it was
of
because
course,
he couldn't look at a dead child's blood-soaked mattress.
True. At least there was some human part of him in there.
You're like,
but, like,
okay.
Damn it, now this episode, of course, the actor does well.
The actor does really well. Fabian Frankel's but what sucks, too, is that, like, I can't help but find this a little cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, frankly, whenever he separates a dude's head from his shoulders, he's doing the thing himself. He walks back, and people start kneeling in front of him. I mean, it's just the way it looks. It's not really Kristen. It's just kind of the whole air of what's happening is just a really cool scene. He walks away. You see people kneeling in front of him. And then you remember, because this little dude delivering the scroll goes, Lord Hand. And then you're like, this guy's the fucking hand of the king, too. Like, that's fucking, like, on paper, everything happening here is fucking dope. You know what I'm saying?
We're not sitting in chairs anymore, talking, giving orders for war. He's in the war.
He is there. He's separating lords' heads from shoulders. Like, that's, he's about that action
Ned
at
Stark,
the very least. At
least believed if you
pass the sentence, you swing the sword.
At least he's doing that. Got to give him.
I got to give him that. But I fucking hate this guy. I fucking despise him. I want to make that perfectly clear. Fuck Kristen Cole with every fiber of my being. There was an unquestionable air about his scenes that was cool. And not because of him, but I do think it's because of the writing, and I think it's because of the way it's shot. There's just some beautiful imagery with Kristen Cole in this episode.
Yeah, that's where my shot came from, was the blood in the water at first and the slow pan up. I mean, it was just, it looked really,
my
really
shot
good.
I was very close to picking the one where he walks away from the dead lord and people just start falling to their knees in front of him. Like, that is an awesome fucking image, and I love the visuals of the Crown Lands. They've never done gray so compellingly. The contrast between the foreground and the background is really, really strong. I love the way this looks. But as Cole returns to his horse, he is given a raven, presumably from Aemond, and they plan to ride northeast. And Gawain Hightower teases that Harrenhal is the opposite direction, but Cole knows he has other plans.
It's like, yes, it is, and I'm gonna ride east anyway. I can't let you know what's gonna happen.
And Gawain's like, okay,
sure.
But later on, the dewy forest crackles under the weight of Cole's army's axe, and Cole calls to his men. They ride now. It is time for battle, to war. And Gawain's like, yeah, what the fuck, man? Would you have us die? Are you tired of living? And he's like, what, are you afraid? He's like, no, worse, I'm rational. Like, we should not, like, if I was afraid, it'd be one thing. But, like, I know I'm right to be worried right now. Like, this is fair. And Cole doesn't care. The surprise will work. We're off. And thus begins the culmination of the entire episode. Aegon gets rip-roaringly drunk in his study as Rhaenyra awaits for Jace and hers. He slides an empty glass off the table. It smashes upon the ground, and he gets mad and storms away. Rhaenyra lays before Jace a coming of age, something she should have told him when he became heir, as battle prepares to ensue. Rhaenys arrives at Meleys as Aegon armors up, and Sunfire gives Aegon a nudge with his snout to Aegon's delight. Poor Sunfire. Probably was just so excited to go for a flight, and now he's going into a battle which I can't imagine he knew was coming. But Rhaenys rests her head on Meleys as she says, "They are off to battle again, old girl."
Oh, the other potential line here.
Yeah,
I think the one I'll probably will go with since you got. I mean, we doubled up on the Viserys intention, and it just. Oh man! I mean, right when she said it, I kind of knew. I was like, "Yeah, this does feel like goodbye already," and just the relationship they had,
dude. The way they emphasize the way they look at each other, like they look into each other's eyes, and there's an obvious connection there. It's so sad, but Rhaenyra tells Jace that Viserys had believed in her every day of his life, that she would protect the realm. Right then, green forces close in on Rook's rest. Meleys flies away as Rhaenyra says that to unite the realm, she had to send the dragons to war. She says the horrors that she has loosed cannot be for a crown alone. That is why she must believe what Viserys told her when she was named heir, what Jaehaerys told him before, and what she will tell Jace now. And Jace is like, "What is it?" And she's like, "Aegon the Conqueror's dream. He called it a song of ice and fire." And the battle begins at Rook's Rest as green men are mowed down by the holding forces when a dragon arrives. It is Meleys, and she scorches earth and man as Creston sends signal arrows up for what is revealed to be Vhagar and Aemond. As they prepare to take off, Sunfire and Aegon ride overhead, and Aemond tells Vhagar to wait, calling Aegon an idiot. Aegon arrives on the field, and Criston must deliver a rousing speech to the troops, even though his plan has been altered drastically. He says, "Your king is here. Fight well."
Good on his feet.
Die well. Yeah, no, it was good improvisation. Yeah.
Your king is here, to help,
Your king has joined you.
Rally, with me, but your king, could have hyped it up maybe.
And he even does like a little prayer, he's like, the light of the seventh. You're like, okay, you guys are waging a fucking holy war. Let's chill. But Rhaenys eyes Sunfire as he looses fire under her and her dragon. She then instructs Meleys to attack, which she does, carving multiple large gashes into the chest of Sunfire, which bleeds and descends to the ground to bleed all over the soldiers. Nearly drowns a guy in blood.
Yeah, did one dude die from that? I don't know.
It seemed like he would have. Is dragon blood hot as fuck? Is he getting melted here? I don't know.
It'll be interesting to rewatch just to see if he's writhing in pain, or just if it's ugh. But
yeah, he takes off she takes off once more and is again attacked by Meleys. It is then that Vhagar enters the fold. Aegon is relieved to see his brother, but is quickly regretful when Aemond calls Dracarys. Vhagar looses fiery breath upon Meleys and Sunfire, with Sunfire receiving the brunt of the damage. The dragon panics, screeches, and falls from the sky, exploding upon impact with the ground. I hate the sound dragons make in pain. It really fucking sucks. Yeah. And it really sucks worse because none of them deserve this.
Nope. It's all just their humans telling them to do things that they, Meleys wanted to get out of there, 3 times. It felt like she was like, "Hey, we got this out. Nope, attack. Okay, fine." And yeah, it's just it is brutal and a very destructive war. I'm wondering this. I mean, quite the large fall here. I'm assuming every bone in Aegon's body is pretty much donezo, unless are they going to go down the route of Valyrian steel is a vibranium shock absorbent type thing where,
I don't know,
since he's in the full suit, this is why Aegon wore this suit of armor, is that if he were to fall off of his dragon, he'd still live. I don't know. I mean, that's crazy, but
it's kind of it operates under the same principles as if you crash an indestructible car, you will splatter on the inside.
That's
true.
What
I'm saying? It's
yeah. It's not like it's your skin or your built into you.
But
yeah,
I think my money is that the dragon doesn't land on his back.
Okay.
And that the dragon cushions his fall and he falls off to the side. Granted, there was also an explosion on impact. So, like, that's why I'm like, Aegon's fucked. Like, there is nothing good about the state he's in.
And how much of are they going to go down the route of, like, a Targaryen not being burnt? Like, which one of them are real dragons versus not? You know, like, it'd be incredible if we see Rhaenys's body and it's, like, it's still pristine, you know? Like, it's maybe, I don't know, she's just naked, but just pristine, unburnt, but then Aegon is very
Melted.
burnt and all the stuff is sent to him. So like not a real I don't know if they will go down there, but assuming we'll get a funeral next episode, and that's probably how we'll open it up. But if we'll see her body or not, because I guess we did check in on Aegon's, but not Rhaenys. We didn't.
Yeah, Rhaenys, she landed under her dragon.
Yeah, so I guess even if the fire wouldn't have burnt her, she's still not a human really anymore.
Yeah, there's not much there. I imagine they'll go with the dramatic side of thing. I'm sure there will be like, you will be able to recognize a body. I don't think they'd go, she eviscerated on impact. Like, that was just kind of it. But, Criston attempts to go to his king's side when he is knocked to the ground, and Rhaenys considers flying away before realizing that there is no other dragon that stands a chance against Vhagar. If her queen is to win, she must take the play on Vhagar's life. She instructs Meleys to attack once more and hooks herself to the saddle. Her dragon's fate will be hers. Meleys flies over the castle and Aemond clocks her, turning Vhagar to face her. They fly directly for each other and clash in the sky. A brutal dragon versus dragon bout, all claws and flames and hate. They circle one another, incapable of gaining an upper hand, and they land on the ground, destroying many in their wake. Vhagar attempts to take to the sky again, stomping on soldiers left and right, and Meleys has the opportunity to flee, and looks back to her rider for instruction. They make eye contact, and again, Rhaenys instructs her to attack. She is going to kill Vhagar or die trying. She searches for Vhagar to no avail, and when that happens, you go, well, we're done. She rises over the castle, where Vhagar and Aemond await, and she is snatched from the sky. Vhagar holds the throat of Meleys in her maw, crisping and beheading the beast as she looks into her rider's eyes. Rhaenys descends with her slain companion and dies on impact with the castle. Aemond flies victorious. R.I.P. Real One Rhaenys.
Yeah, it was I mean, even in the episode, I kind of felt it was coming the whole time, but even up until the moment it happened, it's like, fuck. And Eve Best, I gave her the character last episode. I'll give her the performance.
Good, dude.
I'll give her the performance for this episode. It always, it always feels right to give a performance or character nod for someone we won't.
I gave her
probably won't see again. Yeah, and oh, that's good. She'll get both for this episode. But oh man, just that last whenever she accepts her fate, and just kind of lets go, and just like she's already crying, like the tears are just welled, and just. Mm-hmm.
Oh, beautiful performance. Every time that Meleys would look back at her and she's like, it's not like she's hoarding her power over her dragon. It's more like Meleys is like, are you sure? And Rhaenys is like, yeah. It's not even like she's like, you will do this because I say so. It's more like they are on a mutual understanding that this is what's about to happen. And I love the detail that she straps herself to the saddle so that whatever happens to Meleys happens to her. Beautiful fucking moment.
And how they can give dragons emotion. Like, it's crazy how they don't say a single word. It's just through their eyes and
Meleys's neck crisping as she looks at Rhaenys and then shuts her eyes. Like, dude, my God, was that heavy. Man,
they are these huge, crazy, scary creatures, but it's like a dog, or it's just like, no, like, if they're innocent, there's nothing, like, no, they don't deserve any of this, and I want a nice, dragon heaven. I want him to go away.
They can all be together again in peace.
Go over to Valyria. It's all ruined anyways, you know. I don't know much food over there, I guess, for him, but I don't know. It's we know where it's going. You know, we only have 3 dragon eggs that make it out, and no live ones. So
yeah, it's been confirmed that they were the ones that were sent with Rhaena also, which is cool.
4, which is interesting though. 4 in that box, but only 3 that we get with Daenerys. So what? Where's that?
One hatches and becomes one of the kids.
Okay. We just probably see that one. Yeah. I was gonna say, are they trying to leave it up that there's another?
And that's possible. I think that would be cool. And I think that might be like a little detail they're kind of going like, if we ever want to pick up again later, like post Game of Thrones, we have a little Easter egg, quite literally, that we can fall back on.
Yeah, it works both ways, I guess. We'll
I could see it more. It's more likely it'll pop up as being relevant to this show, but we'll see. But on the ground, we see the castle destroyed, gaping with a dead dragon. And Christian wakes after he was knocked to the ground and knocked out by Vhagar and Meleys's descent. And he surveys the chaos around him. He reaches for a soldier who has been burnt to dust in his armor. He arrives to find Aemond stepping toward his king, drawing his sword. Kristen stops him, and Aegon picks up the cat's paw dagger. Kristen inquires where the king is, and with the blade, Aemond points to his brother's body, limp on the ground, next to a large, nearly dead dragon. And Kristen drops to his knees with tears in his eyes as Aemond steps away.
Yeah, I'm watching Aemond walk up to Aegon again. It's very weird. It's almost like he's lifting his sword. It looks like he's about to sheath it. Like he's going to sheath it, or he's holding it in a way that he's just going to like stab Aegon. Like it's kind of unclear. It's weird. But like obviously his intention is to kill him.
There's literally no other reason to have your sword out. And I think that
if he's dead by a sword slash, you know, or whatever, is that
maybe he intended to kill his dragon. Maybe he intended to put Sunfire out of his misery.
Out of its misery, and then because I don't know, it is a really weird like
Here,
he has his sword out as he's walking up to Aegon, and it's like he just got done fighting someone, or I don't know, and then the way he lifts it is just so weird. It's like he's going to sheath it again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's walking with it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like, did he have to fight through people to get there? The battle was there's no one that he'd have to fight through to get there, right? Like he's walking out with his sword with the intention of either killing Aegon or Sunfire or Sunfury. I don't know,
Sunfire,
but like
it's no. I think you're right. I didn't clock that. He is about to sheath his sword when Aemond stops him.
Yeah. But
it could have been a precaution. He's walking through a battlefield.
True. I guess Kristen stopping him though makes it seem that he stopped him from killing Aegon.
He was at least concerned. Kristen watched Aemond burn his dragon from the sky. I think that there's a...
What's Aemon's play? What's the... If he's not, does he just want the dagger? Is that actually all he wants? Is he just I take the throne now? I understand my brother is incapacitated. He's not dead, whatever, but I take the dagger. I will be sitting on the top of the council. I will be giving all the orders.
I don't think it matters if he has the dagger.
Just for him,
a symbol.
He cares. I feel
gotcha.
I don't know. It could be a literal thing. He needed to have Aegon incapacitated and gone, but yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's weird that he's putting his sword away and not going to finish the job and going all the way. But
I think that they are trying to create a certain I mean, they're at least instilling in the idea in you that he could have been about to do that, but there is a vagueness about it that I think it becomes inconclusive.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, feels like if he stabs Aegon, his body's probably fucked up enough to where it's not going to be like clear that that's how he died. People will just be like, he died from the fall. So like, it's not. I don't know. I mean, I feel like unless this armor, they know that you just. There's no way he knew he would survive that fall, though. There's no way. Like, zero way that Aemond is.
He was okay with killing his brother. Yeah, there's no question about that. He knew when he called Dracarys that he could kill his brother. He just didn't care. You know, like, I don't think there's any question about that. Now, if he would outwardly assassinate his brother when there isn't the guise of also trying to kill Rhaenys, you know, like, that's why, like, I agree now that I've watched it, looked at it again. I do think he's already about to sheathe his sword when Kristen arrives.
It could be maybe he's, like, just expecting if Aegon is up and awake, Aegon would be in attack mode. If he saw Aemond, he'd be like ready to kill. So then when he sees just him on the ground, not moving, okay, he's like, cool. Oh, okay, cool. Maybe I guess it could be
been
that.
A preparedness. Yeah, no, I mean, like, yeah, I don't think there's any hidden mystery about why he had his sword out. I don't think he fought anybody to get there. I think it's just that he was on a battlefield. You have your sword at the ready. He found a place where his brother was lying, and I think he was about to sheathe his sword. I think they are obviously, to the viewer, trying to create that tension further. Kristen's suspicious of him. Kristen will almost certainly inform Alicent. Alicent's already been like, you know, Aemond, you like, be afraid of Aemond. You know, like, Aemond's frightening. He's scary. There's something wrong with him. So
yeah, like, I guess Aegon doing this, just like kind of a drunken whatever, will cause feud between Kristen and Aemond now. Like, they used to be like buddy, but Kristen might be like, are you going behind my back? You didn't tell me that Aegon was going to come. Like, what is this? Blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know, maybe there's just a lot of distrust within Team Green, and they start self-destructing more. But
I'd like that. Yeah, no, I mean, man, do you think Kristen Cole makes it out of this season?
I thought his hand would have been removed quite, like, this episode. I really hoped it would. I really hoped he would die. That was the death I wanted out of this episode. It's the one that it'll probably, if it does happen, it'll probably be the finale or like the penultimate. Like they're gonna make us.
They'll save that.
Like they know that we hate him.
Oh yeah.
He's easily the most hateable character there is. I just don't know how long they plan on running the show. Like, is he a Ramsay like where he'll carry? I don't know, season carry over
after season.
Yeah, carry.
I don't think. I don't think so. I don't see him lasting much longer. Just from a utility standpoint, as a character, how you use him, he does not have much interest left. Like, I think that whatever conflict comes to a head with Alicent is going to be by the end of this season. I think that he's not. I doubt he gets demoted. I think he dies. You know, like maybe he. You know, like that's.
Yeah.
They're at war. He's leading the vanguard. It just seems likely that he'll die in battle before the end of the season. For me.
Are they on their way to Harrenhal now, or what's
they say Harrenhal can wait. I guess I don't know if that means that they are like, now that we have Rook's Rest and we've landlocked Dragonstone, now we can go to Harrenhal.
I guess maybe there is just like a settling time, like for both sides. You know, it's
like, let's take a break.
Like, holy shit, yeah, what just happened?
They've landlocked Dragonstone. They've been afforded the ability to rest. Like, that's what they've done because they're not worried about Harrenhal. Daemon's distracting himself. They're like, fine, it's good. So like, I think we get a slower one next week.
Feels like it. I would like it, actually. I don't know.
I would like a respite. That'd be ideal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that concludes this episode of House of the Dragon. So I'll do the plugs, and then that'll be that. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 100 hours of exclusive content, all sorts of book reviews, comic book reviews, movie reviews, and Penny Bloom Dispatch, where we do a semi-weekly, segment-based, relatively relevant show, much more timely, much more based on what's been in the news. It's a fun show. You should definitely check it out. Entertainment, science, politics, anything. That's where you'll find it. We're going to be doing a top 10 movies of the year so far on there soon, since we're a little over halfway through the year now. But yeah, head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod for any news on what we might be doing anywhere. Follow on Instagram and TikTok at PennyBloomPodcast. You can leave a 5-star rate and review and download wherever you might be listening. You can come back on Friday for Cinema Surprise, where this week we will be discussing Cure. Kiyoshi Kurosawa's 1997 horror flick. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. I mean, it's not a lot of fun, but I loved it. I loved that movie. So you should check it out, and you should listen to us talk about it this Friday. And on Wednesday, we continue Fulcrum, a Star Wars podcast, with the penultimate episode of Season 1 of The Acolyte, and I'm very excited for that, so you ought to be there. But, yeah. House of the Dragon, baby. I can never remember. Do we rate these? Okay.
We do.
I can't remember what we rate and what we don't.
Mm-hmm.
We rate these. Okay. So, enjoyment-wise, on a scale of 1 to 10, where's this sitting for you?
Well, I'm not going to lie. Episode 2, still my favorite of the season. It was heralded as the one that's going to beat Battle of the Bastards and blah, blah, blah. Of the battle and of the things that we got, fantasy-esque, like, yeah, it was fantasy out the ass. Whenever the dragons were fighting and the war was breaking out, it was the editing, it was done well. The tension built, very, very nice. At the end of Battle of the Bastards, I got Ramsay dead though, which is it's a nice.
Helps me like that a little bit more.
Yeah, and the end of this one, no, it's
one of my favorite characters dies.
Yeah, not good. So. But there's, enjoyment to be had there, even though it's not good enjoyment.
Oh yeah, it's moving,
So
I'd go 9.25, 9.5.
That was 9.25 was episode 1. We haven't had a 9.5 yet.
Probably a fitting middle ground there.
It was still pretty sick. Like
awesome.
And Damon's little subplot as well.
Yeah,
I think
it's a good
is
fucking
really
episode,
really cool.
Man.
So
this show's cooking right now. Like it's a good fucking.
And we're only 4 episodes in. Like that is it. We're not even halfway, which is insane. Crazy. It feels like the show's been going on for 2 months already. But we're 1 month,
barely a month. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm cool with a 9.5 there then, and
probably roughly the same critically. It was a good looking episode. It was really well performed. It was really well edited. It was really well written. It's just kind of fired on all cylinders here. I think I would go straight 9.5s across the board, if I'm honest.
I think it's just, we went straight 9.75s across the board for episode 2, and I think it is just kind of, it's not quite episode 2, but, I mean, we're still cooking. So, yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool with the 9.5. All right. 9.5 there, so okay.
All right, so 95% on the old Penny Bloomometer. Yeah. Then with that, we will conclude this episode of Fire and Bloom, and we will be back next week with Season 2, Episode 5, to mark the halfway point in the season. And, man, this show it's been a fucking pleasure to watch this week after week. I'm so fucking happy with it. But, yeah, we'll be back next week. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's always a pleasure having you. Remember, peace, love, and bloom. And we are off to battle again, old girl.